Welcome to Kruger National Park. Good morning. It is day 3 here in Berg-en-Dal, or our second morning. Last night was interesting because rainy season is finally here. It's amazing for the animals and the plants and everything, but there was a huge thunderstorm and the lightning struck something like very close to us, and it kept us awake for a while late in the evening. But now we are up early again. We enter the game area around 4:40 in the morning, not 4:30, so 10 minutes late, which is a shame for Germans. But anyways, now we are on the game drive. We are driving the loop close to camp, and hopefully we will see some rhinos, because yesterday afternoon we saw a lot of rhino nests very close to the road here. So maybe they are still there, even though it's already a bit late in the morning. Wish us luck, and hopefully we get amazing sightings. Rhino nests aren't really nests in the classical sense, but more like shallow, worn-out patches in the ground, usually with some dung, sometimes under a tree, often near well-used paths. Some of these spots get reused again and again, especially by white rhinos. The light this morning was beautiful, soft and golden, and it lit the landscape perfectly. But the rhinos weren't where we expected them to be. Still, that didn't mean we couldn't find them. Stretch dich einfach nur. After turning onto the tar road, we got lucky and had our first rhino sighting of the day. We've been on the road for 2 hours now, and while crossing the bridge, we found a white rhino with her calf. So 2 white rhinos in total. They are just lying here in the dry riverbed. Probably they escaped the bush yesterday evening during the thunderstorm. And now the baby looks very tired. And sometimes you even have to get creative with your gear, because the fence of the bridge is a bit too high to photograph. So I'm just using a book to get a bit higher and get a good angle for amazing shots. From there, we continued to Afsar picnic site for breakfast. It's a great place to take a break. Stretch your legs
and maybe spot a few curious vervet monkeys watching you eat. After breakfast, we hit the road again. I had my personal driver with me, aka my husband, which always makes things more fun. Sharing these moments adds something extra. But I also want to say, going on safari alone is absolutely fine, even as a woman. If you are interested in safari tips for solo female travel in the bush, let me know in the comments. I'd be happy to make a video about that. Whenever you see a group of cars stopped in one place, it usually means there's something to see. Or at least was. In this case, they were observing a small steenbok, one of the smallest antelope species in South Africa. And not much later, we reached a waterhole where a large herd of elephants had gathered. One of the mothers was especially protective about her calf. And just as a reminder, it's often not the bulls that are the most dangerous, but the females with youngs. So just give them space and don't rush. Then came another rhino sighting. That's how safari works sometimes. Nothing for hours. And then, suddenly, everything at once. As always, patience is key.
We just left an elephant sighting. There was an elephant bull blocking the road or feeding right next to the road. And you should always respect the animals, because it is their home. We are guests. This is why you should always keep your distance, especially with elephants, because course, sometimes they can get a bit angry if you disturb them too much. But it was not enough for us to just keep our distance from the elephant. It was relatively relaxed, feeding in peace. But then another car came, one of the external field guide cars, which are, in my opinion, one of the worst issues here in Kruger National Park, because they want to tick off all the big five in one day for the day visitors of the park, which is nearly impossible. This is why they are just rushing through the park, they are driving too fast, and they harass the animals. So if an elephant is blocking the road, they will disturb the elephant until it will move. And then it gets very aggressive, or it can get very aggressive, and this can be very dangerous also for other tourists. So just keep this in mind, always respect the animals, and if something is blocking the road and it's not planning to move anytime soon, just turn around and drive somewhere else.
Here, you can also see us waiting for another car to pass, before moving closer to a group of impalas. They were resting peacefully in the shade, and we didn't want to disturb them too much. Around noon, we returned to camp for a short break and were greeted by a familiar neighbor, a male bushbuck. The females hang around our tent a lot, but this one was clearly more curious. He lingered around our car for so long that he actually delayed our departure. In the afternoon, we had more sightings, and another rhino at the exact same waterhole as the day before. that made 3 sightings and 4 rhinos in a single day. Berg-en-Dal definitely lives up to its reputation as a rhino camp. Just before sunset, we spotted 2 southern ground hornbills, the largest hornbill species in Africa. A fitting end to a busy day.
Good morning. It is day 4 here in Kruger National Park. We are still in Berg-en-Dal and we already had an exciting morning because we had a snake right next to our tent. It was a baby snake and it was very, very dark. It was actually black. We are not too sure what kind of snake it was, but I think it might be a black mamba just because of the color, because you couldn't really see the face to identify it because it was just very, very small. And I didn't want to come too close because she was moving quite fast. So another new species for us to observe, which was cool. And I really love snakes. So for me it was an exciting encounter. If we keep our distance, everything is safe anyways. Do you like snakes? Let us know in the comments.
This morning, we left Berg-en-Dal and drove towards Skukuza via the main tar road.
Just had one of the coolest sightings I've had so far on this trip. There was a hippo crossing the road right in front of us at 5:10 in the morning, so quite late already. It was coming from some body of water because it was clearly wet, but it was on a mission, maybe to go to the proper riverbed and spend the day there. But that is so special because usually you never encounter hippos outside of the water during the day. And it was huge, like hippos are. That was pretty cool.
Except for the hippo sighting, we mostly saw birds. One of my favorites was a woodland kingfisher. Again, at the same spot near Machulu River Bridge. In summer, you are more likely to spot birds and reptiles. That's why you should always drive carefully For example, chameleons are tiny and very hard to spot on the road. And contrary to popular belief, the best wildlife sightings don't always happen on gravel roads. Sometimes, the main roads are even more productive. Later that day, we had an amazing giraffe sighting. If you ever wonder how to tell male and female giraffes apart, the horns are a really good clue. Males usually have thicker horns that are bold on top, from fighting and rubbing against things. Females, on the other hand, tend to have thinner horns with tufts of hair still intact. We continued north and stopped at one of the bridges, where we saw our first elephant of the day. Once we arrived in Skukuza, we grabbed takeaway sandwiches for breakfast and took the S114 south in search for more sightings. We didn't have to wait long. Just a few kilometers in, we found a buffalo herd, and we were the only vehicle there. And then something happened that you rarely experience in the wild. A once-in-a-million moment.
Eigentlich nicht.
We have just witnessed the most special thing. There was a buffalo and she just gave birth in front of us. We were just approaching her very slowly because there was a herd of buffalo on our left hand side. Then we drove further on and there was a single buffalo on our right hand side. And we got a bit confused and we thought about why is she just staying there behind. She was not relaxed at all, so we just wanted to drive off to leave her alone. And in this exact second, she just gave birth. The baby stood up and they went away after the herd. That was just the most incredible sighting we've ever had. But the day wasn't over. We saw another lion, a large male, resting in the shade. He didn't move much, and as it got hotter, we decided to keep going. Of course, we had another rhino sighting at the usual waterhole by Berg-en-Dal rest camp. And just before the gate closed, we saw even more rhinos. Probably 8 to 10 of them. They were white rhinos, which are more likely to be seen in small groups, unlike the solitary black rhino. Back at camp, we wrapped up the day with a quiet sundowner. But the bush around us was just waking up. We watched an elephant wander down to the dam, visible from the camp's restaurant and reception area. Frogs started calling, and the cycads seemed to come alive. The resident Janet showed up. And just as we thought the day was over, we spotted a hyena pacing along the fence near the campsite. It was quiet and wild, and exactly what I love about nights in the bush. That was day 4 of our 5-week journey through Kruger in summer, and we are only getting started. If you want to see what's next, don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next episode.